Hey guys, it's Tommy. I'm very pleased to tell you that I just finished another character. This character is a Pokemon. Now, there's a reason why I chose to make a Pokemon character, because it is now officially 20 years of Pokemon, 20th anniversary. I remember playing Pokemon Red when it first came out, and I had everything. I had all the Pokemon. They were all level 100. I had 99 rare candies. I caught Missing No. I screwed up my game and destroyed all my data. Oh yeah, those were good times. So I decided to make a creepy character to commemorate this anniversary. And who's the creepiest one of all? Gengar. This character. Every time I look at him, Lavender Town plays in my head. And Lavender Town, you have to admit, is a pretty effed up place. So I'm going to put one in my room, and I'm going to make his smile, his big smile, and his eyes glow in the dark. So either I'm going to have all of my dreams eaten, or I'm going to have nightmares for the rest of my life. Awesome! So let's get started. Okay, so this is I kind of drew up a really crappy blueprint, but this is kind of my plan on how I'm going to make it. So I'm going to make the framework first, and then his arms are going to have the pipe insulators like my other puppets, but they're going to be made a little bit differently. I'm going to experiment with different mechanics, so where his mouth is going to be movable from the back. So that means I'll be using levers. And then there's going to be another cool feature that I've never done before, moving eyes from the back. You can move the eyes from the back, and they'll pop out. Popping, moving eyes. Big mouth that opens up. You can make a pretty nice jump scare out of this guy. And another really cool thing I'll be adding to this puppet is a tongue. A big tongue that rolls right out of his mouth. So I'll be making that too. So let's get this speed crafting started, and let's just have some fun, okay? The framework is made out of recycled cardboard. As you can see, the cardboard is a little bit dirty, and that's because this cardboard is being reused after it was thrown out. Folding over long strips of cardboard and creating a large egg-shaped figure. And the ears are made using 2 triangular cardboard inserts. Right now I'm just trying to get the height right. Now inserting the arms and covering up using a hot glue gun, covering it up with newspaper. And now putting the first layer of wet paper on. Gotta get both sides done. And now to smooth it out even more, I cover it up with newspaper and reapplied the wet paper on. This will make it look a lot less bumpy. And now I'm making Gengar Thighs. And this is what's going to make the arms look inflated, but yet will still be flexible. Adding his spines. And now this is his tail. The tail is also going to be supporting him, so he does not require a stand.
Now I'm giving this Gengar 4 fingers instead of 3. Now it's time to cut out the eyes and the mouth. Now working on the mechanics for this puppet. Now creating more 3D facial features using actual shredded paper mache, as well as his teeth is going to appear a lot more 3D and not just flat. Everything will be paper mache, no cardboard is to be exposed. And now I had noticed that Gengar's face was off center, so I kind of fixed that without actually moving the face. He was just a little too chubby. Gengar kind of looks like he's got a villain mustache right now. Fixing a lot of mistakes I made. And now to give him some pretty looking spines and finishing him off.
And this is it, you guys. This is my Pokemon. So, I just got my fan down here. He's just kind of drying off a little fix that I had there. Putting the fan on your paper mache dries it up really quickly because it'll remove all the water and you're just left with the glue and it'll dry maybe like an hour. Like works really good. So that's why I have the fan. But this is it, you guys. It's Gengar. And as you can see here, he is now ready to be painted. This is the color he's going to be painted. He's going to be painted all that color except for the teeth. The teeth are going to be white. And these eyes and then the teeth will glow in the dark. And I've yet to make the tongue that's going to come out and stick out here because Gengar's got a nice long tongue. He's a goofy Pokemon. He's creepy, spooky, but he's also really silly too. And so I kind of got to give that feature in order to bring him to life. So yeah, I'm actually very pleased with how this turned out. Very pleased. Took me a little while to get everything right. I had the face off out of center, but that's fixed now. I did that without actually having to move the face, which is great. Got all my paints down here, just getting ready to do this. And I'm really pleased with how the back looks, because this is kind of how the back looks like on Gengar. And right here, this is controlling the jaw. This is your lever for that, and this is a secret door. And right there, those are the controls for the eyes. Okay, now his eyes can move around, and you can make them pop out. Yeah, isn't that cool? This guy's going to have popping eyes. That can be done right from the back. Let's just do a little demonstration to see how he looks. Okay, so I'm just going to do it real quickly here. So, I've yet to put some fabric around here because he's going to have movable arms. And I'm actually going to extend this out. His arms are going to be able to move out. He should be able to touch his mouth. It doesn't quite do that yet, but that only takes a second to fix that. Okay? So, yeah, both of his arms are movable. Gengar actually has 3 fingers, but I gave him 4 because I kind of want him to have an opposable thumb. And if he's pointing at someone, it kind of looks like he's flipping you off. So, so I'm not going to do that. But anyway, here comes the demonstration. Let's see what Gengar is capable of. Gengar. So, yeah. And then, let's just try his eyes. Ooh, yeah. I like this. You can make him pop out at you. Imagine, if he had a jump scare, it would be something like this. Oh man, guys, I am so pleased with how it looks right now. I can't wait to get color on him. Yeah, kind of a goofy character, but he can be really scary, and especially at night. He's got to have this enormous grin staring right at your face. That's going to be really awesome. So I kind of had yeah. So I've been into Pokemon forever, and it just felt right to be making something for the 20th anniversary. So I just cannot wait to get some color on this. So without any further ado at all, and I'm pretty sure this guy can't wait to get some color on. So why don't we just do it now? Let's get right to the painting, the fun part. So first off, let me put some little clothes on first. And also, let's take a measurement, see how big he is, okay? So, I'm going to move this. One of these days, I'm going to get a proper video camera. Maybe that's my letter to Santa. I had no idea I'd be doing this, be posting a ton of videos on YouTube. But this is a pretty good quality what I'm using right now. Alright. 4'11". Make sure both sides are the same. 4'11". Gengar's actual Pokedex registered height is 4'11". He's full scale now. Well, here he is. Not quite happy with him yet. I think his smile needs to be bigger. I'm going to make it 4 inches wider and see what he looks like, but his smile looks just a little bit small. The bigger, the creepier, I think. So let's make that little fix real quick here. And here he is, guys. Gengar's all finished. So, I don't know. Let's take a look at him and see what he can do. So, my birds are chirping up there. Hello, birdies. Yeah, anyway. So, let's go check out the features, okay? So, here's what he looks like from the front. He's got his tail down there. Now I know the fabric doesn't match. I might end up repainting him to match this fabric, but this is just the first version. I will probably do another makeover on him, but here's the back here. Not too bad. You got the little spiny pattern here, and here's the secret door. And that's the controls for the eyes. And there's the lever that moves the mouth. So, let's take a closer look now. So he has moving arms. Let's get right behind him now. So you can literally hide right behind this guy. Nobody will know you're there. You could just scare him. Alright, let's check out the eyes. Yeah, so I think it could be a little bit better, but hey, this is not too bad. You make them pop out. Yeah, I pop out. So, yeah, I'll probably do a little more work on that in the next makeover. Let's see him talk. Yeah, so this is kind of not too bad. I like it. I think the smile could be, probably will work on the smile for the next makeover. And now let's see him with his tongue out. This is my favorite part. There you know. Now he's got that long Gengar tongue. Yeah, what do you think? Not too bad. His tongue will stick out. There, he's kind of a goofy Pokemon. Yeah. You know, Let's try posing the tongue now. He could do that because he's Gengar. He could do this because he's a Pokemon, and this because he's a Gengar, and whatever he wants because he's a Gengar! Okay, well, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you all had fun. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.